Hello everybody and welcome back to a new mod showcase. Today we've got the WE'Z Special mod, WE'Z Special from the Orcs. I thought we'd do an Orc mod because we've only just got the last Legendary Orc, but I don't know, Legendary Lord who is an Orc, but I don't know if we'll ever see them again. You know, in a wonderful world of CA doing this game for the next 10 years, we'd see loads, but unfortunately we have to be realistic, and this could be the last time we ever see implementation of Orcs in general. So what this mod adds is basically everything missing for the Orcs. It's actually a really well done mod. It's quite an old mod, but I do think I should bring it to people's attention because it's got loads in it, and literally if you're an Orc lover, which I would say I am, yeah, it basically includes all the missing Orcs, or at least a very vast number of missing Orcs. On top of that, there is 3 submods as well, which adds 3 new lords for the mod as well. So as we're going through, I'll basically show you all the lords, where they start, little different bits about them, and then we'll get straight into the showcase of all the units, because that is the main bit. There is boatloads of boys out there. So without further ado, I would just like to throw in there, thank you very much for the support on the channel. With all the support over the past month, it's been insane. I think one of my videos has got up to 10,000 views, which is ridiculous. I've now got memberships on my channel, which is lovely jubbly, and I'm around about 50 subscribers away from hitting 1,000 subs as well, which is absolutely insane. Hopefully with all this, I will be able to get my partnership back with CA, and then we'll be living easy for the foreseeable future, because I can go back to making content and keeping up obviously with the mainstream stuff which comes out when it comes out. So bottom line, thank you so much, everyone, for the continued support. Now, let's get into the showcase. Okay, so here we go with the first of the Legendary Lords. We've got Sporctacus over here, just outside of the Dark Elves realms. So he is leading the faction called the Cage Breakers. Now, this is a generic faction in the game. This is a normal faction in the game. You can, if you spawn around here, I'm sure you've probably seen them. However, God, he's actually got so much land. I didn't realise how much land he's got. God, Jesus, I thought it was just this, and then whoop, nope. So he spawns over here. I won't obviously go into showing you all too much about his units and stuff he can get, but I will quickly show you what his aim is. So he does come with a bonus relationship to Orcs and Ogres. He likes his Orcs and he likes his Ogres, as well as a debuff diplomatic relation with Dark Elves and Chaos Dwarves, I believe it is. The reason because of this is because he actually is technically a slave of the Dark Elves and broke free, and here we are. He's called the Cage Breakers for a reason, and so yeah, that's basically his theming. He's over here, he's broken free. His character model looks absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Again, I'll show him in an actual showcase in a minute. So what's cool about him is you fight armies, and when you win certain armies or battles, should we say, you recruit certain units, which goes into the rebel camp here. So bottom here, we've got recruit from the rebel camp. If you click on that, you've got 3 units here. So we've got the Uncaged Orcs, which are obviously very similar to the Orcs from the Chaos Dwarves. Uncaged Goblins, exactly the same, very similar to them from the Chaos Dwarves. And also some Uncaged Ogres, which is pretty cool. So a nice naughty slave breaker army, obviously rallying the slaves behind you to take down the Dark Elves, which is pretty cool. Another thing I thought I'd quickly just show off, obviously because he's technically like a legendary lord, he does have his own skill tree, but more importantly, I bet you're probably looking at those Uncaged boys and thinking, God, they are awful. Yes, categorically they are at the beginning, but he's got things like here, for example. So this gives Uncaged units plus 8 melee attack and melee defense. He's got this one, Sporctacus Spawn, 30 armor for Uncaged units, leadership and weapon strength. So some really nice buffs there all around for the Uncaged boys. So as you go through, obviously they will be getting buffs as we go along. No doubt he probably gets other buffs as well through, yeah, I can see there the boys there, look, gets even more buffs. So not only does he get buffs through the normal tree, he also gets buffs through these special ones up here. So really cool. Let's head on to the next lord. Okay, moving on to the second of the two lords added here. So this is the Black Pit tribe in the very middle, or almost middle centre of the empire here. We have Tinitt Four Eyes. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, probably not. This boy doesn't really have all too much in terms of like complete unique faction mechanics. However, he does have a big focus on obviously spiders, goblins, and goblins with spiders. So that is going to be his main focus. When he calls a war, he does have a much more chance or higher chance to have spiders in it. He's going to bring a lot more buffs to the goblins, the forest goblins. He's going to bring a lot more buffs to spiders in general, and obviously your arachnid spiders and stuff like that. Again, he will have his own unique tree, but as we look through here, I bet he's probably got something for... He's got a unique mount, which again we'll get into, that does look pretty cool. There you go. Straight Goblin Tide, straight away up top there. Plus 10 armor and plus 4 melee attack for Goblin units. I'm sure there's probably even more vicious little gits. Yeah, there you go. Look at all those buffs. So if you're wanting for a more themed Goblin / Forest Goblin army, definitely there. Again, Arachnid spiders units looking pretty nice there. So if you were to look for a more unique Forest Goblin-y army, then this is the boy for you. Let's move on to the last one. There's another Goblin, by the way. We're loving goblins. Okay, and so moving on with the last faction over here in the Darklands against some naughty Chaos Dwarves. We've got Gitilla the Hunter. So this boy is obviously again very goblin focused, but he's also very focused on specifically like wolf riders and goblin the archer variants as well. Looking at his skill tree real quick, he has loads of buffs when it comes to quite literally that your chariots, your goblin wolf riders, and then the ones with archer variants as well. So he's going to be going down that line of really buffing those boys to something quite nasty, which is quite thematic obviously with what he is. Again, when it comes to the army composition, he's got Goblin Tide there, so again armor and melee attack for goblins. So I'm not saying orcs aren't going to be great, but definitely, like for example here, goblins are definitely going to be massively buffed. Snarlfangs, Goblin Tide, obviously all his base unlocks as well. Could make for a really naughty boy. Also they're much more likely to ambush as well, which is great, and especially because he gets buffed with it as well. Obviously the plus 4 melee attack there during ambushes, so it could make obviously his goblins a little bit less squishy. Another cool thing about Gitilla the Hunter is, yes, he can build up just like a normal orc faction. However, he also has access to a camp. He is a nomadic tribe of orcs, technically, is how he sees himself, right? So as he's going around, he can, of course, set up a camp and upgrade a camp. Like many other nomadic / horde factions, I do apologise, I was booted my desk if I came through loud. Like many other nomadic and horde factions, he can occupy settlements, but like I say, he also has, like Malachi McCason, has access to a camp. Cool thing here, he does have a unique building here, the Wolf Khan's tent, because I don't want to say he is, but I'm fairly certain he's like a pseudo hobgoblin, maybe. I'm not gonna throw that one into the lore aspect, but maybe. But there you can see obviously charge bonus, melee attack, and upkeep for goblin wolf riders. It says for armies in local province, but obviously it's tied to him. So basically, it's any armies where he is, which is great. And then obviously all the way up there you get the plus 10 as well, which is great. The Great Wolf Khan's TP. So yeah, there you go. You've got 2 goblins to mess around with and a slavey orc which has broken free of his chains. So really nice additions, but those 3 lords is not all this mod includes. It's quite hefty. So that being said, let's jump into the character showcase and show off everything this mod has to offer. Okay, as ever, what we do with these kind of mod showcases is show off each and every single unit, including the lords, which we've obviously just shown off on the campaign map. So what I'm going to do this time around is, usually I forget to actually show the mounts, but I'm going to include them with the mounts here. So expect the stats to be a little bit skewed until you got them on the required mount here. So, for example, the Goblin here is going to have 500 weapon strength. He himself doesn't, but the Spider does. But let's have a look at Sporctacus. I really struggle with his name. I don't know why. It's not a difficult one to say at all. Looking really cool character model-wise. Like he's literally just out of like a gladiator area and looking really nice there. On the back of a Manticore as well, which you probably stole from those naughty Dark Elves. So looking at the stats, alright stats. Armor, not too bad. Speed, obviously 85 because it's on the Manticore, so pretty cool there. Weapon strength being at 450 with armor piercing as well. So going to be able to bunch into those Dark Elves with relative ease. Does have the Siege Stacker trait as well as some nice passive abilities and active abilities. Especially that one there, which gives him +4 leadership and base weapon damage to all allies within range, which is nice. That's just a constant buff as long as they're within range, which is really cool. Moving on to Gitilla the Hunter here. He doesn't have a mount option. He is always mounted. You can't unmount him. He is just here on his little wolf boy. Looking really cool. He's very fast at 95 speed and can fire while moving. Range is actually pretty good and really good missile strength. So he's going to be a Lord which is going to be pretty good at taking, sniping out single entities, I would say. Yeah, that's a lot of missile strength. It's a shame that he doesn't have like armor piercing missiles or something like that, or armor sundering missiles or something like that. That'll do him some good there, but maybe you could upgrade him. Coming again with some nice passives. He's got Glorious Charge, which is pretty funny, and some active abilities there as well as this one here, which is like a magic missile. So looking really nice here. All round, nice character model, nice wolf boy. I love the white wolf. I'll be honest, it looks very reminiscent to obviously my profile picture on YouTube, which is my old dog from home. So it just reminds me of like an armored version of her, which is pretty cool. Moving on to the last of the legendary lords we have shown, we've got Tinitt, 4 eyes. Look at his character model. Wait, Jesus Christ, if you stop dodging him out up here. It's absolutely glorious. He does indeed actually have 4 eyes as well, which is, I guess, quite fitting for his name. I would like to think he would. Looking at his stats, he is stat it up out the wazoo. Obviously, again, he is on a spider, so the stats are going to be a little bit more skewed than what they would usually be. Armor 150 is absolutely insane. They love to scream as well. He does have range, but it's only because of the goblins on his back there, as you can see, and he can have poison attacks and stuff like that on both his melee and his range. When it comes to his weapon strength, he does have 500 weapon strength again on the back of the spider. The spider, by the way, is absolutely glorious looking, with bonus of these large and armor piercing as well. He, of course, is a spellcaster, so he's got all his little WAR abilities there, which, yep, should be a nice addition to obviously getting him in and fighting on the battlefield. Just one additional lord I thought I'd include is Rachnic Spiderclaw. Now, I'm fairly certain Rachnic Spiderclaw is the lord you can get from the... God, sorry, they just screaming. Can you boys give it a break? Thank you. Jesus. I'm fairly certain he is the lord you can get from the technology tree. He's a little bit more generic looking in the technology tree, but he still is on the back of the spider. So I'm going to assume that a lot has changed here. He still has access to obviously his spells and some summons and stuff like that. Very similar to Tinitt 4 eyes there. But he has been updated with his character model on top. Obviously looking a little bit more unhinged and spider-esque than his vanilla counterpart. As far as I'm aware, the Horrible has not changed. He's still his same naughty boy from the technology tree. But nice to see a little bit of a refresh on this boy. Yeah, looking pretty smart. Let's move on to the generic lords now, because there's quite a few of them to show off. Okay, whizzing through these because there's loads to show off, as you can see down there. These are just legendary lords. We've got 3 different orc variants. We have got a savage orc war boss being armor piercing there, anti-large, frenzy, and the war paint. Of course, obviously the war paint being his unnatural armor and stuff like that, giving him physical resistance. He does have some active abilities as well, and a pretty good stat tree to boot as well. Having a look at some of these as well, active abilities, passives, and stuff like that. Really nice. Nice to see. Basically, what this mod will introduce is every missing variant of anything ever is now in the game. So if we was missing it from the vanilla roster, don't worry, it's now here. So you can now set up a proper Savage Orc army. Obviously, with the addition of the Great Shaman, Savage Orc Great Shaman in the actual DLC from Gorbad, you've now got a Savage Orc War Boss here as a melee lord instead of a spellcaster. Keeping in themes with orcs, we've got the Black Orc War Boss. Unfortunately, his stat tree isn't really showing up there, so a little bit of a shame, but you can see there he is indeed armor piercing, and he does have poison on his melee attack, which is really nice. All around, lovely War Boss. Black Orc, looking absolutely beautiful. Again, that way you can do more thematic armies. The whole entire point of this is going to be just more thematic armies, I'll be honest. And here we go, we've got an Orc Great Shaman here with armor piercing and anti-infantry as well on the back of his chariot. He does come with obviously all his big war spells as well as some active abilities as well. Let's move on over here to some more Goblin generic lords, and look at this boy here, absolutely glorious. We'll start on the left though. A new spider variant, gigantic spiders, are now part of the roster, which are looking absolutely beautiful, horrific actually. Like, I'll be honest, that is a terrifying spider model compared to the other spiders. That is horrendous. So here we've just got the normal Goblin War Boss. He is a hybrid with armor piercing and poison attacks, looking absolutely lovely, jubbly on the back of this monstrosity. Here we have the Night Goblin Great Shaman. Look at him. He looks like someone out. Oh, Jesus, stop! He looks like that guy out of Monty Python when they're trying to cross the bridge to get the Holy Grail. Oh my god. What is your favourite colour? Oh my god. If you know, you know. If you don't, straight over your head. And then character model for the ogre here is glorious. Sorry, the troll is glorious here. Really liking that boy. So cool to see him on the back of a troll. Moving down to the very last one, we've got a Forest Goblin War Boss again on the back of a spider. He does have access to the gigantic one, but I thought I'd just give him a giant one just so we can see the different variants as well. So yeah, nice little Forest Goblin showing his Forest Goblin balls. And I'm talking about these. Let's move on to the last of the lords, which this one is hilarious by the way. We didn't actually really look at his stats. There's the Forest Goblin War Boss stats. Shielded, melee expert, and poison attacks. He's not a spellcaster, but he's actually not too bad to be fair to get into there. Obviously Goblin, so not as armoured, but around not too bad. Fast and poison attacks. Nice. Moving on to the last lord then here. So we've got the Snotling War Boss, which is him right there. He looks great by the way. And I love, basically, it doesn't actually say it here, which is quite funny, but usually it has like melee expert or something like that on the campaign map. Oh no, it's there. It just says there, look, nuisance. That's it. That's his sole purpose in life. He's just a pain in the ass. So as you can see, their stats aren't anything to really go home about. His stats are actually awful. But you know, his weapon strength's not too bad. Bonus to his infantry and armor piercing. But I think it's expendable. Imagine having a lord who's expendable. He is. He has got some passive abilities and active abilities and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely great to see that. He's yeah, expendable. So if he dies, no one gives a fuck. Let's move on to the heroes. Bless him. Okay, so here we go, moving on to the heroes. We actually have a legendary hero here. He, in the lore, is the right-hand man of Grimgor Ironhide, so expect a new hero while playing as him, potentially even recruitable to other Orc factions, but I would assume Grimgor would definitely get first pick if you're playing as him. This is Borgut Face Biter. He is armoured, anti-infantry, and is a melee expert as well. He is absolutely armoured out of the wazoo, 110 armoured there, which is insane. He has the Day's melee attack, which gives less speed and melee defense to the people he's attacking, which is really good, and then has plenty of nice passives and abilities down here, especially about immune to psychology, yeah, and rabble rouse there, passive ability. Gives everyone around him immune psychology as well, so he's not going to care who he's fighting, he's just going to be going for it. Axe O' Doom as well there, active ability, bonus to sympathy plus 52, and then armor piece and weapon damage plus 50, so he's going to be a really naughty boy to actually get in there and get slapping the lads. In the other trees here of heroes for the orcs, we've got a Orc Big Boss, just a generic damage dealer. Going to be a nice addition for any spellcasting hero. Lord, should we say. Again, plenty of different abilities here, passives and otherwise, and some alright stats to go along. Leadership's been pretty nice there, but he is a slow boy. Having a look here at the two Savage Orc variants, we have the Savage Orc Shaman, obviously very similar to the Great Orc Shaman, the Savage Great Orc Shaman. Armour, absolutely abysmal. He doesn't actually have the War Paint, at least it's not listed there, so he should do, like he does. He has the War Paint, I can see War Paint on him. So yeah, Armour, abysmal. Leadership, alright, but obviously he's going to be more of a spellcaster, so you're going to be wanting to get him out the way and hidden behind obviously your front lines, casting whatever we can. So again, when it comes to building up armies, if you just want to play as Wuzzag and you're wanting to play as Savage Orcs, you've now got a full roster and full Lord and Hero capacity to do so. Very much in line with the Savage Orc Big Boss here. He is anti-large, has Frenzy, and has Warpaint. I absolutely love these gauntlet things he's got on. They're just horns, let's face it. They're just horns, or maybe like claws. But strapping him onto his hand there is absolutely great. So yeah, very menacing looking, very cool looking. Would not be messing with this boy. Probably out of all of them, this one would be the one who would I'd be the most intimidated by. But yeah, looking really nice. Let's have a look at the two Goblin heroes as well, because we can't go anywhere without at least showing a little bit of love to the Goblins. No Snotlings here, thankfully, this time. So we've got the Goblin Shaman. Just a generic, again, spellcaster. Stats is absolutely abysmal, but that's not his point. Again, going to be hiding behind the lines and fishing out as much damage as he can do, as much debuffs and whatever with his spells. And then over here we've got the Forest Goblin Shaman as well. So again, if you're wanting to play a much more thematic army, which is lovely to see that this mod introduces everything like this. If you just wanted to play Forest Goblins, you've now got the capacity for a Lord, a Hero, and a legendary lord to even lead those boys into the fray with Tinitt Four Eyes. So yeah, you've got a Forest Goblin Shaman, which is going to be serving the exact same purpose. Awful stats, well, collectively awful stats. You just come with poison as well. Spiders, God's a blessing as well. So as long as he's in a forest, which is actually pretty cool by looking at that, he gets accuracy and melee defense, which is going to be actually insane. Because I would assume that probably applies for most of the other forest goblins. That's really cool, actually. Awful if you're not playing with a map with forest on, but yeah, cool if you are. And again, his spells there. So with that being said, let's head on over to the units. Let's start having a look at some units for mod ads. Okay, so here we go, kicking things off with the units. Thankfully, I say thankfully very modestly as well, there's not actually that many units to show off, because I would like to think after all these years of Total War experiences, they might have added most of the Orc and Goblin roster. However, I will admit there is plenty here to include at least another DLC. And hey, maybe in the future with themed DLCs or mini DLCs, we might still see yet another Orc character. I would love reinforcement packs, I'll be honest, where they like introduce 5 new units, or you know, a new unit and a new lord, because as much as we've got plenty of legendary lords out there, there's plenty of generic lord and heroes and themed lord and heroes which we're not, you know, we don't have access to, like Savage Orcs, Forest Goblins, stuff like that. So, anyway, ranting over, I seem to do this with every single mod showcase. Let's kick in straight away to the generic Forest Goblins. So these are absolutely abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. But obviously, playing as the Forest Goblin Legendary Lord, you can buff them up quite nicely. They are expendable. They do have the Spider, God's blessing there. No armour. Lovely. Poor leadership, but they are expendable. There are two variants of these. So you've got your normal boys with just axes and shields, which is quite nice. And then here you've got your spears variants here. So exactly the same, obviously just serving that slightly different purpose. Whereas the normal ones are going to be your more frontliners, these ones are going to have that bonus, these large. So all around, pretty nice additions. There is also a ranged variant here. Of Forest Goblin Archers. Again, absolutely abysmal. No armour. Stats are awful, but they do have the poison attack and the poison and melee attack as well. Expendable, so, you know, who cares if they die, but they will run away very quickly because of their poor leadership. But again, if you're playing as the Forest Goblin Legendary Lord, then this is a perfect army for you to, these are perfect units for you to put in your army and buff them up. So it's a nice addition for the mod to include, but it'd be a nicer addition if the base game had them off the get-go. Moving on, before I keep on going on my little tangent, we've got a couple of additions to the Night Goblins as well, because, you know, Orcs and Goblins aren't as just linear as CA makes them at times. So we've got the Night Goblins. These are spear fanatics, and I think here just spears. We do have plenty of Night Goblins already in the game. I say plenty, but not all. But these are just your fanatics and normal base variants, but with spears. So whatever the Night Goblins do in the base game, the exact same, but this time with a bonus this large. So yeah, again, addition-wise, lovely jubbly. Over here we have got the Uncaged boys from Sporctacus campaign. So when it comes to Uncaged Goblins, they're just going to be very similar, and as well the Uncaged Orcs to the Chaos Dwarves roster. I would say categorically they are almost the exact same, if not the same, just with a different name. Obviously going from labourer or Orc labourers and Goblin labourers to obviously Uncaged Goblins and Uncaged Orcs. But again, I love this word, grammatically beautiful. Another thing you probably didn't expect to see on a Wednesday afternoon is some uncaged naked ogres. Yeah. Again, in terms of abilities and stats, not very good on the armour. Again, we're not really playing with armour in this in this mod, but plenty of nice stats and stuff like that. Bonus for these infantry as well, and damage dealers. So, in comparison to the other slave counterparts, excuse them the lack of armour, pretty good, I'll be honest. Moving on over here to your more refined units now, as we head into the back end of the mod showcase. This is it. We have got one more unit of Savage Orcs. Again, the Savage Orcs are not done. We've got plenty of Lords and Heroes which are not included, as well as these boys, Savage Orcs with spears. So again, plenty of spears in this mod showcase, to be fair. Just basically giving utility to the lacking anti-large, which is really nice. So Wuzzag, if you want this mod and you play as Wuzzag, it's going to be beautiful. You can play as Grimgor and have a more Black Orc focus with all the new Black Orc Lords and Heroes. It's nice. Goblins out the wazoo. So yeah, absolutely lovely. Here we've got a single entity Night Goblin Squigobber. Looking really nice. The model for it is absolutely beautiful, by the way. Look at this thing. Obviously got a little Night Goblin on top there. Nice, lovely jubbly. He's a hybrid unit with poison attacks. However, he can go into Rampage and has appalling accuracy. But he's basically an artillery unit. He's basically an artillery unit. Some really nice stats there. 1.1k missile strength, which is insane. Armor piercing and poison as well, and his weapons, just like his melee as well, is also armor piercing as well as poison. So got all that to boot, and with a range of 250, he's definitely going to be able to shoot down range pretty nicely there. So can't complain about him. Moving on to this abomination. Oh dear. It works so well. It shouldn't do, but it does. we've got the Snotling Swarm. Obviously, these are just Nurglings redone, retextured to be Snotlings, but it works so well. It's horrific, but it works so well. They remind me of the little, like, goblin creatures from Overlord 2. I don't know if anyone's ever played that game. Banger of a game, by the way. So yeah, Snotling Swarm, weak against armor. They are unbreakable, may I just add. So, sure. And they do have exploding spores as well. Sure. These Snotlings carry exploding spores in battle, which they heal the targets from short range. So a bit like a precursor kind of thing, maybe. Yeah, weak against that armor, but they are unbreakable. 40 entities, so actually not that many entities. Leadership obviously doesn't really matter. Speed abysmal, melee attack abysmal, melee defense abysmal, weapon strength abysmal, charge bonus abysmal. But they are unbreakable. They do also have this exploding spores. Oh, that's it. That's actually, it's an active ability. It's not a precursor missile, it's an active ability. So when right next to them, basically, you can, 70 meters away, so yeah, relatively close. You can throw your spores and do not a lot of damage at all. Oh my god, that is awful. But what do you expect from Snotlings? And then last, there is an additional unit of renown, regiment of renown here. They are, Jesus Christ, they are really loud. These are Harboth's Black Mountain Boys, so these are anti-infantry and damage dealers. Yeah, all round, looking pretty naughty to be fair. Loving the colour scheme on these boys, obviously dual wielding melee orcs. These are just your normal orc boys, so not going to be too great in terms of stats. However, definitely a nice addition to have a dual anti-infantry orc variant, even though it is a regiment of renowned. They do come with dwarf ticklers, which is what the weapons are. So as long as their health are above 50%, they do melee attack plus 10, as well as 2 armor piercing, which is actually hilarious as well. But that's what they call them. Just real quick, one last throw in. I forgot. We do actually have one other regiment of renown. I thought it was only 1 boys, but it was actually 2. I don't know how I missed this. Maybe he wasn't green enough. He tried. He tried. We basically got Shrek from the swamps. I'm just joking. It's definitely a giant called Little Gork. Looking really nice, tasty. When Little Gork woke up from his close encounter with a grudge thrower, he was convinced that he was a greenskin god Gork. And so here we go. We've got quite literal a giant which thinks he's the greenskin god, and I guess the greenskins are just humouring him. Like, yeah, sure. So, looking at stats, he's a tier 3 boy, so yeah, alright. Armour, to say armour, there's not much there. 50, not bad. Leadership 110, so he's not actually going to be routing anytime soon, which is great. Obviously, speed not fantastic, but faster than some things for a giant as well. Melee attack, melee defense, really good. Weapon strength, ridiculously good, as well as armour piercing, and charge bonus at 40 is not too bad. Looking at abilities here, he's got Cause Terror, Siege Attacker, Missile Resistance plus 15, which is great because obviously he's a big boy. Wall Breaker, and then he's got Violent Wind, which is a Vortex spell, which does damage over time. God. Only for 3 seconds, but that could be pretty naughty to be fair. And then this one's quite hilarious. Little Gork's Wah. So he has his own little personal Wah, because, sure. Which gives plus 12 speed, plus 6 charge bonus, and plus 10 melee attack to all allies within range, as long and it recharges if he's in melee. So there we go. Now that is officially the end of the unit roster, but I thought I couldn't not include Little Gork here. So there we go. I'll go skip back over to the outro now. But there we go. That is all of the units for the WE'Z Special mod. Plenty of new lords to play with. Plenty of new generic lords and generic heroes as well to recruit, which is going to allow you, if you are a fan of greenskins, to really tickle your deepest pickle and get you involved with whatever atrocities you'd like to be involved with, be that goblins, snotlings or orcs themselves. So with that being said, I hope you have enjoyed this mod showcase. Please leave me a like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, show your friends, your family, and maybe even your pets. I'm sure your dogs would love to watch this. And with that being said, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.